life comes at you fast. And if you're not ready and anticipating that it's going to do it, it will knock you smooth off of your feet. However, I have come to find out that there are things that you can do to literally change the trajectory of your life and help you enjoy it a bit more. It's your favorite Dr. Honey, Dr. Faith Abraham, and welcome back to our channel. Today, we're going to talk about life and the 2 shifts that I made to make life much better. I heard this concept from Brooke Castillo. I've never let it go since. I feel like it's a really adequate description, but I'm going to elaborate on it just a little bit more. One of the things that Brooke says is that life is 50-50, 50% good, 50% bad. If you don't experience the bad, then there's no way for you to know that it's good. And I had a similar thought process and conception about life, just that I got from the Bible, when the Bible says that it rains on the just and the unjust. So basically, everybody can get it. Life does not discriminate. Everybody has bad moments. Everybody has bad times. With the advent of social media, it feels like more people are having more good times than they are bad times. And it can really make you feel like life is skewed, life is stacked up against you, and it sucks for you and not everybody else. But I can guarantee you, just because the Bible said it, it rains on the just and the unjust, meaning that the just people have bad moments and unjust people have bad moments. Everybody gets it. The question is, though, what do you do when you feel that way? And I'll be very transparent and honest and just say that there was a large season of my life where I really felt like I was cursed. I felt like, things just did not work smoothly for me like it did for a lot of other people. I literally had a friend in college who would get jobs like that. Dude wasn't making like the best grades. Wasn't like just so spectacular, and no shade on him, but it was true. Like, it wasn't like he was just striving so hard to make this life for himself. He just would get bored with the job, quit, and then within the same week have a new job, and it would be better. Whereas me, I had a whole season of my adult life where I could not secure a job. I literally had to go to a staffing agency, and the staffing agency staffed me. Even though I had a bachelor's degree, I was getting paid $8 an hour. I did that, I think, for about a year. After the year was up, I got promoted to a full-time person at that job and was getting paid $9 an hour with a bachelor's degree. This was like early 2000s, for real. So it was like, and I learned very early on in that season of my life to the power of sowing seeds. That's when I was introduced to people like Dr. Mike Murdoch, Creflo Dollar, who taught about sowing seeds. And so I was like, you know what? I don't have anything to lose. So I remember one time I sowed a seed into Dr. Mike Murdoch's ministry. I think I saw him on TV on Daystar. I was like, this is my last $38 and I really need a new job. Like, I really need something. Long story short, I ended up getting a new job and I was getting paid $36,000 a year. But that was good money for me back then. And it was the most money I had made in my entire life. So I quickly learned that the formula for my life and for turning things around for me and moving the needle on whatever it was that I felt stuck in, or I felt like that curse was like operating in my life, was sowing a seed. And it'd have to be like a sacrificial seed. It just worked for me. And of course I was tithing. And so leveraging that tithing with my words, like, Lord, I gave my tithes work for me, my tithes secure my future, my tithes open doors for me, my tithes breaks every curse and weapon that has been formed against me. It will not prosper. Like, I would just be using the words and using the fact that I was tithing. Use the fact if I sowed a seed, that seed, and I would just speak prophetically over that seed and over my tithe. And that really helped to shift things for me. But nevertheless, that did not take away from the fact that I just felt like there was always like these interferences when I wanted to do something big, when I wanted to prosper, and I would literally create a plan. I wasn't like a hope of a prayer, do a Hail Mary or something. It was like a real plan, strategy, and try and execute it. It would just be like opposition, accusations, false accusations. My Rick Ross voice, okay? It would be, I would have dreams, and in the dreams, people were fighting me or chasing me or trying to shoot at me in my dreams. Like, these are very, very vivid, lucid dreams, and I would wake up like, like catching my breath, and I'm like, yo, like, what is going on? My sister can't get a break. Like, and now I'm getting my feelings just thinking about it. Like, it was a really tough time. And so I would fast, I would pray, and just tap into, the book of Isaiah where it says the breaker anointing to break that thing off my life. And so I was doing all these spiritual things to break what I felt was happening in my life. It was working. How did I know it was working? I started having different kinds of dreams where people would still be chasing me or coming after me in the dream, but there would be like a way of escape. I remember one dream, it was like I was being shot at, and it was like other people with me, and the other people were like, dang, I got hit. Oh, so they would be falling off, but I would still be going. And then I got to my destination, and they're like, oh my God, Faith, we're gonna help you, come here, this. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I'm just there, and they're like, do you not feel these bullets in your leg? Oh, I didn't know I got shot, but they got shot and they fell, right? But I would get shot in the dream, and I wouldn't fall. I would get to my destination. I'd get to my appointed place. I remember another dream, like I was about to miss my flight. And I was like, no, I cannot miss that flight. That flight will wait for me. This is what I would say in the dream. And it'd be like all kinds of stuff just happening in the airport. And I'm like, yo, I have a flight to catch. And so I remember one time I got to the gate, and the lady was trying to close the gate. I said, no, that is my flight. I'm supposed to be on that flight. Oh, well, what's your name? And she goes and she types it in, and I'm like, Faith Abraham is my name. That is my flight. Oh, and somebody shoot her away. Oh, Miss Abraham, we were waiting for you. Here you go. And she opened up the gate, and I walked my little happy tail right on that flight, and I did not miss my flight despite all the opposition. So that's how I knew the spiritual stuff that I was doing was working. So I had to work the spiritual. I recognized that. Fast forward, and I still had this stuff, but it wasn't as heavy. It was still opposition and like a lot of stuff happening, right? But it was different. It felt like I had a role to play, but I wasn't playing the role. And I can't even explain that to you. But it was like the spirit of delay, the spirit of denial, the spirit of interference, just all this opposition. But then it was like, hold on, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing spiritually. Could there be something that I'm missing naturally, like in the physical realm? And so I started just personal development. I've always been an advocate of personal development. I'm a reader. I love books. I learn cultures, understanding, government, all that stuff through books. And so I just started reading more books and understanding the brain and how it works, understanding productivity and being effective, success principles, reading biographies of successful people, understanding mindset. And that's when it clicked. That's when it's registered. And that's what I really want to share with you today. The 2 paradigm shifts that got me to where I am. I can never deny the spiritual aspects that I had to do. I had to rise up in the spirit realm, because this world is not just a physical world that we live in or we think it is. It is a spiritual world. We are spiritual beings. We live in a physical body and on this physical earth, and we have a soul. So you have to understand your ranking and your maturity in the spirit is going to reflect in the natural. And also too, you have to do that natural physical work and be a practical person to really see the miraculous, see the supernatural, see things just like shift for you. The stuff I was seeing in my dreams started to happen in real life. Nobody was shooting at me, but it would be like the opposition and all the stuff that would come against me would fade, or wouldn't be as strong. It wouldn't last as long. It wouldn't be as powerful when I started to get my weight up in the physical realm as well. So here we go. First things first is I started operating from my future self. So my future self, it would be like this boss woman. She write them checks with a whole lot of zeros. Hey, what you don't know is when you come home and get behind closed door, man, she hit the floor, and what you can't see is she on her knees and the next. Okay, that might be a copyright thing, so let me stop. It's the God in me. Hey, it's the God in me. Oh, Mary, look it up. Boss, multi-million-dollar businesses, happy husband, happy fulfilled kids, great quality relationships despite what I went through, especially with the ladies as friends. Self-worth, hold my head up high. I don't feel like I'm doing too much. I feel okay with taking up space the way I'm supposed to. That is how my future self operated. That was not how Faith back in the day operated. Let us be crystal clear. So I started to operate from the place of my future self. What would future me do? What would future Faith do? Okay, I'm feeling this fear. I'm feeling like a lot of doubt, and I'm having all these thoughts, and my emotions are all over the place. But what would future Faith do? What would the future version of me do? And so I started to say, get the personal development content and apply that to myself, but really see that with no limits, no boundaries on my future self. And so when I started operating from that place, it was kind of like this connection to who I was in the spirit, literally like come up and take over how I was operating in the physical. And I had to do that. That was absolutely necessary. And I started seeing life no longer being 50-50. Even though that is a very true principle, it's a universal law. I started seeing life become more 60-40. I started seeing life become more 75, right? Like it started shifting in percentages because I started to adopt this mindset of even if something doesn't work out for me, it still works out for me. Like the way me and God is set up, I can't fail. I can't lose. There is nothing that happens to me that doesn't work out for my good and my advantage. I may not know what it is right there in the moment, but it's gonna come to me. I'm gonna get it because that's how future Faith operates. That future Faith thinks caused this like shift in my life, and now in my 40s, I'm living the life that I felt like I wanted and I saw for myself in my 20s, now in my 40s. And in my 30s was kind of like the groundwork and the, shifting and the plucking up and uprooting the unnecessary things. Like, yeah, that's what you needed to get to where you are, but you don't need that to get to where you're going. Come on, Holy Ghost, tell us, sister, what's up? And then I had to start operating from that place. And this is also the stuff that I teach my clients, because a lot of when my clients come to me, they're only seeing themselves from where they are. They kind of know, they have an idea as to who they want to become and where they're going and what they want to achieve, but it's not crystal clear. And so I really help them get crystal clear and push past the limiting beliefs, the money blocks, the situational stuff, the past, the, curses, all that stuff, to see where it is that they're going and create that plan so that you write the vision, you make it plain so that he who reads it can run. And my clients run. So that's one shift, operating from my future self. The second shift was what I kind of mentioned a second ago, which is just knowing that all things work together for my good and my benefit. The hurt, the pain, the trauma, the lessons, it taking longer than I anticipated it to take for me to get from point here to point here, the bad relationships, the stuff that I perpetuated in my own life, the lack of boundaries, like all of that stuff Though it hurt, it did serve a purpose. Did I need to go through it? Not everything I needed to go through. And not everything you need to go through. Some stuff is just the consequence of your decisions, period. But when you shift in your paradigm, when you shift in your perspective, you start seeing and you start operating from that place that all things work together for good for those who love God and are called according to his purposes. That's Romans 8:28. When you start operating like that and like really believing it in your inner self, in your consciousness, and you operate from that place, life just starts doing things and turning around for you. Oh, I hired a VA. It didn't work out, but that actually led me to hire this other person who did work out. And that girl helped me out buku to get myself together and get my systems and processes in order in my business, right? Oh, I had a flat tire when I was traveling the other day, but that allowed me to meet this guy who actually has a shop close to where I live. And now I had somebody when I had my car business who could work on my cars for me. When I was doing Turo, that was the first business that I made 6 figures in. When my husband and I, we were renting out cars. All from a flat tire. You know, just all these different things. I can just tell you story after story after story after story after story. But the truth is, those 2 things shifted me. And would I say I'm still cursed? I won't call it a curse. I will say it is one of those, what Apostle Paul said, a thorn in the flesh. That's what it felt. It went from being like this big looming thing over my life to just being like a thorn in the flesh. It's there. But just like God told Apostle Paul when he said, can't you get this thing out of here? Can't you remove this thing? He said, oh, my grace is sufficient. God's grace is sufficient for me. So I'm not worried about that thing. I know it's there, but it's not stopping me. It's not hindering anything because in the physical realm, my mentality, my mindset is strong. My mindset, because I built it up and I will continually build it up, is leading me exactly where I'm meant to be. And because I have a relationship with God, we walk together in tandem, I'm not worried about anything. Those 2 shifts are the shifts that I made to change my life and make life not suck. I hope that you can implement those in your life too. And let me know in the comments, like, what shifts are you making? What actions are you taking to make life, instead of it being so 50-50, make it more 75-35, maybe 80-20. That would be nice, right? And if this is your first time hearing concepts like these, let me know in the comments too, because I would love to hear from you. Like, what are you experiencing? What is going on with you, and how have you worked through it? Or if you need some resources, I have resources for that in my bio. I'm willing to give it to you. We family, honey. Because multi-passionate female entrepreneurs should all link up and do life together. With that being said, if you like this video, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any videos. I always release a video on Tuesdays at 6 p.m., at least at this point. And there's always some shorts. So with that being said, there should be something on your screen. Catch that next video, sis. You already here. Let's get it. It's our year. Let's go.